That night, after I'd spent my last $50 bill and sat alone in my hotel room while the icy New York wind screamed through the streets outside, only one question echoed in my mind: had I really come all this way just to give up? I, Sarita, daughter of a tiny American village, with no godfather, no bank balance, just a stubborn belief that I would build my own business. That night, I couldn't stop my tears, but I made a decision: this story would not end here. If you've ever fought for your dreams in complete solitude, then this story is for you. Read it, feel it, and if there's a Sarita inside you too, let today be your first step, because the road to success is never easy, but it is yours. I come from a small village where the roads are still unpaved, the electricity often vanishes at midnight, and we rise at 4 in the morning to water the fields. The village is so tiny that most people wouldn't even recall its PIN code. My father was a modest farmer who worked relentlessly to educate us, and my mother kept our home running. I always topped my class, but in that village, even having dreams felt like a rebellion. Get married, settle down, they all said. But I had read about America, its skyscrapers, its freedom, its stories of success. I decided I would go there and build a business that would take Indian handicrafts to the world. All I had was an old laptop, bought with my first salary by tutoring children in the village school. I took online courses, learnt English, and applied for a visa. After years of effort, I finally received a student visa. I packed all I owned into one suitcase: some clothes, a jar of chutney made by my mother, and a diary filled with my dreams. At the airport, Mum cried, Dad stayed silent, but I didn't look back. I knew the journey wouldn't be easy, but I was ready. The moment I reached America, everything changed. New York's JFK airport was so enormous that I wandered for hours. I had only $2,000, my entire savings. I found a cheap hostel where 6 girls shared a single room. On the first day itself, the reality of survival struck me. A coffee cost $10, and a day's worth of meals ended up costing $20. I enrolled in college for business management, but I desperately needed a part-time job. I began working as a waitress, classes from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, followed by serving tables until 10 at night. My legs would swell, my hands blistered, but I kept smiling. Customers sometimes tipped, sometimes shouted if an order was delayed. One wealthy man looked at me and said, "Girls like you come here only for money. Stop dreaming." His words broke me, but I didn't reply. At night, I cried in the hostel, but every morning I got up again. I noted down my business idea: selling Indian handicrafts online. I created an eBay account and tried selling a few items I'd arranged from home, but the shipping costs completely wiped out any profit. I decided to try the local market. On weekends, I set up a stall in flea markets. People admired the products, asked questions, but rarely bought anything. This is Indian stuff, right? Cheap, but is the quality good? Their words stung. I would call Mum and say, "I'm fine," while quietly falling apart inside. Time passed, and my savings began to vanish. College fees, rent, food, it was all piling up. I sought help from the Indian community. A few successful NRIs listened to my idea. One uncle said, "The idea is good, but you'll need money. I can invest." I was overjoyed. We met, made a plan. He said we'd be partners, 50-50. I trusted him and gave him all my savings, $1,500. He promised to build the website, arrange imports, handle logistics. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. When I asked him, he blocked me. I realized I'd been scammed. I went to the police, but with no proof, nothing could be done. That night, for the first time, I felt I had lost. But the next morning, I stood up again. I took up odd jobs: Uber driving, dog walking, even cleaning houses. I saved every penny. I learnt to pack my own products, connected with local artists, and slowly gathered inventory: handmade jewelry, scarves, pottery. I created an Instagram page and uploaded photos. My first order came from an American woman who bought a scarf. Her review said, "Amazing quality." That moment felt like a victory. But the journey was far from over. One day, the college held a business competition. I submitted my idea. "Where will your funding come from?" the judges asked. Through my own hard work, I replied. They laughed, but I still made it to the finals. There, I met an investor, a woman who was a single mother. She heard my story, her eyes filled with tears. I see myself in you, she said. She invested $10,000. That amount was pure gold for me. I launched my website, saritascrafts.com. I ordered products from my village again, but this time in bulk to reduce shipping costs. Orders began to flow in. But challenges weren't done with me yet. A shipment got stuck in customs, resulting in thousands of dollars in losses. I applied for loans, banks refused because I didn't have a credit history. I turned to crowdfunding, started a GoFundMe campaign and shared my story. Donations began trickling in. One stranger sent $500 with a message. Your courage inspired me. Gradually, the business grew. I rented a small warehouse, hired 2 girls, and continued expanding. Then COVID hit. Lockdowns shut everything. Online sales increased, but supply chains collapsed. The village was locked down, so products didn't arrive. I partnered with local American artists and created fusion products, Indian designs with an American touch. People loved them. A year later came the big break. A major retail chain contacted me. They wanted my products in their stores. But their minimum order was in the thousands. I didn't have the stock. I sought investors again, this time, carefully. A venture capital firm showed interest. After multiple meetings and presentations, they asked, "What is your USP?" "Authenticity," I said. "Every product tells the story of a village girl." They were impressed. I received $50,000 in funding. Production scaled up. I trained women in my village through video calls. Soon, my products were sold in 10 stores. Revenue reached the 6-figure mark. But with success came jealousy. Copies flooded the market. Fakes were sold under my name. I took legal action. Registered my trademark. One day, the New York Times published my story. From Indian village to American dream, Sarita's journey. Interviews poured in, podcasts reached out, and people began to recognize me. But I didn't change. I still woke up at 4, checked emails, and packed orders. Today, Sarita's Crafts is $1 million company. I opened a factory in my village, employing 100 women. I brought my parents to America and showed them my home. But the journey is far from over. Every day brings new challenges, competition, market crashes, but I keep fighting. Because I know that to fulfill one's dreams, one must often fight alone. If you come from a village, a small town, or anywhere in the world and want to start your own business, remember, you will be betrayed, you will fall, but if you rise again, you will succeed. My story proves that even if no one stands with you, your own resolve is enough. Today, I'm calling you. Create your first product, launch your first page, take your first step. Because if I can do it, why can't you? This is your moment, start now, and one day, the world will hear your story too.